of Libby. When we last spoke to you, when we were on our tour through the country, Community Voices, Community Media, your husband was just coming out of the hospital. This was when we were in Montana. What does it mean for your family, where you stand, as well as others?
Well, I think the biggest issue right now is going to be what W.R. Grace is going to do next. W.R. Grace is providing a medical program for the people diagnosed with the disease in Libby, and it does pay a good bulk of our prescriptions and medical bills. And that was something that if this is taken away, it's going to be devastating to the people of Libby and to the people struggling with this disease right now, and to the pharmacies, to the hospital, to everyone. And we really don't know what is going to happen next. The next thing we have to face is the bankruptcy. And with the not guilty verdict, Grace could easily go before the bankruptcy judge and simply say that we don't owe the city of Libby anything because a federal court and a jury pronounced us not guilty. So we're all sort of wondering right now what the next step for Grace is going to be. And considering the arrogance of this company from the onset of this whole situation, everyone is just sort of in limbo right now and waiting for the other shoe to drop to see what is going to happen to Libby. But no matter what, the same people that were sick are still sick. The same people that have died would have died, and this will continue on for 20 to 40 years, with or without the assistance of W.R. Grace or possibly the federal government. And I think the next step will have to be that the federal government will have to call a public health emergency and start assisting the people of Libby if Grace is completely out of the picture.
And your husband's health, how are you?
We're all right today. We continually have to watch ourselves for any type of infections, colds, things like this. Our lifestyle has slowed down considerably because of the disease. There's a lot of things we can't do that we should be able to do. And
explain exactly what the disease is.
Well, what happens is this fiber is a needle-like fiber, and it invades the lung and goes to the pleural lining of the lung, the outside sac of the lung, and it starts to form calcium. It's the body's own immune system that reacts to it. And the short story is that instead of having a lining on your lung or your diaphragm, like saran wrap, very thin, it will turn around and become like an orange rind, and it slowly strangulates you. And this is something this is a progression of the disease that eventually does kill someone if it doesn't go cancerous. And in my own mother's case, her diaphragm on X-ray looked like a grapefruit rind, and her lungs were simply like two sausages hanging on sticks because they had been shrunk down by this continual scar tissue forming in the lining of her lungs.
It's called asbestosis.
Well, actually, it's called asbestos-related disease. This isn't a shipyard asbestosis that affects the lung itself. This affects the lining of the lung, and there's where the difference is, because W.R. Grace in trial stated there are only 15 people in Libby with asbestosis, I believe. And by the standard government regulations of asbestosis, probably that's right. But ours is, and they have found it's an entirely different form of asbestos-related disease from asbestos exposure because of the way the fiber reacts in the body.
Gayla Benefield, I want to thank you for being with us, speaking to us from Libby, Montana, suffering from asbestos-related disease, as are 30 members of her extended family. Andrea Peacock, former editor of the Missoula Independent and author of the book Libby, Montana, Asbestos and the Deadly Silence of an American Corporation. When we come back, we'll stay in Montana. We'll bring you part 2 of our conversation with Doug Peacock. Survived Vietnam, came back to face the wilderness here at home to help recover from PTSD. Stay with us.